Montague's message, April 5, 2015. Greetings to all on this Easter day. It is customary to have chocolate at Easter. Veronica always ensured I had a constant supply of my favorite chocolate. I wish you all an enjoyable day. As daylight increases, the light of humanity shines ever brighter. It exposes all that is dark and corrupt. Your awakened minds can no longer accept the lies you are being told publicly, especially on TV and in the newspapers, as fact. Truth can no longer be hidden. You have begun to question and explore the truth for yourselves. You are shocked at the sheer arrogance of the lies which insult your intelligence. The cabal has come to realize that they cannot get away with their inventive stories that replace the truth, anymore. They have been rumbled. Today, I want to show you what others have found to be the truth. I am not the only one pointing you in the right direction. Humanity's future depends on you accepting the absolute truth and discarding the false history that was deliberately imposed on you. The annihilation of humanity has been going on all around you for years and you were unaware of it. This was planned and carried out by the cabal with your help. It is time it stopped. Together, you say no, I will not contribute any more to this slaughter of the human race. You are in an us or them situation. What you were taught had begun in the East, did not. It began in the West. Today, we quote from Andrew Power's book, Ireland Land of the Pharaohs. Page 69. Silver-tongued quislings like Clinton, Blair, and other high-level global politicians, in reality systemic puppets, are strategically placed to control aspects of the deception and to keep us endlessly herded and perplexed. They know the value of keeping the useless eaters, as one of the elite chillingly described the so-called masses in conflict with each other. Divide and rule is the active axiom. Ireland is a good example, although the same template has been used throughout history in most countries. The use of historical and mythological events, like the Battle of the Boyne, is used to further an agenda we are, so far, ignorant of. As an aside, the so-called Irish peace process won't work, it was never meant to, and never will in its present form, 2003. It is just another facet of the agenda put forward to confuse. This will become clear as our story develops. Page 91. It would be remiss of me to leave this chapter without briefly mentioning the ultimate conspiracy. Have you ever heard of the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion? This infamous document came to light in Russia during 1905, and was translated by one Victor Marston in London in 1910. Marston stated he could not work on the protocols more than 30 minutes at a time because their contents were so evil. It was supposedly the minutes of a meeting held by a cabal of Jewish bankers whose intent was to take over the world by manipulating the Goyim, a Jewish slur word for Gentiles. Ever since these writings were brought to public attention, there have been fierce debates as to whether they were genuine or not. Bern, Switzerland, was the scene of the court case to decide their authenticity in the years 1934 to 1935. The court concluded that the protocols were a forgery, a strange judgment if it was trying to say they never existed. If they were a forgery, there must have been an original. This is a complex and confusing study and worthy of a volume of its own. The only comment that is added here is to point out some of the ideas found in the protocols were originally penned by Maurice Gellie, a Rosicrucian and an eminent French lawyer, in his pamphlet Dialogues in Hell between Machiavelli and Montesquieu, 1864. This was seen at the time as an attack on the political ambitions of Napoleon, but it also demonstrates the shadowy hand of the secret societies in the controversy. This is borne out by claims that the protocols were the work of the 18th century Illuminati, who were by no means exclusively Jewish, although some of its members were. We will use several samples taken from the Illuminati protocols to further underline the assertions in this chapter that there is something very powerful, not connected to religion or nationality, working behind the curtains in the throne room. For good or evil? Who knows? We are too strong, there is no evading our power. The nations cannot come to even an inconsiderable private agreement without our secretly having a hand in it. Do not suppose for a moment that these statements are empty words. Think carefully of the successes we arranged for Darwinism, Marxism, Nietzscheism. Our power in the present tottering condition of all forms of power will be more invincible than any other. Page 104. These concepts seem, on the face of it, very pessimistic, but only through understanding the parasitical system do we have any hope of overcoming it, and to overcome it we must, to free our minds. In the final analysis, it is the elite houses who have constructed the parasitical system, a global prison, a prison without bars. No one can explain the deception logically. How can anyone explain a delusion that is so powerful and omnipresent that it is impossible for most people to fathom? One of the jailers mocks, "It is only the small secrets that need protecting, the big ones protect themselves by public incredulity." For example, the Illuminati realized their secret protocols would eventually be publicly revealed. Thus, they drafted their protocols to appear as a Jewish or Zionist plot to place all human beings under one world tyrannical rule. They even mistitled their document, "The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion." Throughout that document, they also shrewdly planted a Jewish slur word for Gentiles to describe their targets, the Goyim. This is sufficient for today. Please understand that this information is essential if you wish to survive what is about to happen in your world. The pyramid of power is about to topple. They cannot survive the light. Sending light to the ley lines everywhere and to London is working. Humanity must survive. Every one of you can play a part in your survival, even from the comfort of your armchair. This has been a particularly difficult weekend for Veronica. The attacks intensified. All who are trying to guide you to the light are being badly attacked. We will create the centers. We will help humanity to cope with the transition from control to freedom. You need to fully understand how controlled you have been. Who has controlled you and changed your history, and created false religions to ensure there was conflict at all times. They needed the bloodshed and fear to survive, and you supplied it. It is all coming to an end, my dear. The attacks will stop, and you will live in peace. Then our work will take off. Always at your side. Your adoring, Monty. Channeled by Veronica Keane. MontagueKeane.com